So rumor Willis just dropped something about her dad, Bruce Willis, that honestly made me pause for a second. And I think you need to hear this because it's both heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. You know Bruce Willis, right? The guy who literally defined action movies for an entire generation. The man who crawled through air vents barefoot in Die Hard. The charismatic legend who could deliver a one-liner better than anyone in Hollywood. Well, his health battle has been something the whole world's been watching. And now his daughter Rumor is opening up in a way that's completely raw and unfiltered. She did this Instagram Q&A recently, just casual stories, and someone asked the question everyone's been wondering, how is Bruce doing with his frontotemporal dementia? And what she said next is where things get real. Now, before I tell you her exact words, you need to understand something about FTD, because this isn't just any condition. This is one of the cruelest diagnoses out there. It literally changes who a person is from the inside out, affecting their behavior, their personality, their ability to communicate. And Bruce was officially diagnosed about 3 years ago. So when Rumor answered this question, she didn't sugarcoat anything. She said, quote, "I think it's kind of hard one to answer because the truth is that anybody with FTD is not doing great." And man, that hits different, doesn't it? Because she's acknowledging the brutal reality that families dealing with this face every single day. But here's where it gets both harder and somehow more hopeful at the same time. She continued by saying, "But he's doing okay in terms of somebody who's dealing with frontotemporal dementia." And I want you to really think about what that means for a second. She's essentially saying that within the context of this devastating condition, he's managing as well as can be expected, which tells us this family has had to completely redefine what okay means. They've had to adjust their expectations, shift their perspective, and find gratitude in moments that most of us would take for granted. Now, Rumor is 37 years old. She's got her whole life ahead of her. She recently became a mom herself, and she's watching her father slowly slip away in the most gradual and painful way imaginable. But here's what absolutely floored me about what she said next. She talked about going to visit him, about giving him hugs, and then she said something that I think shows incredible strength and also just cuts right through you. She said there are occasions when he doesn't recognize her anymore. Let that sink in for a moment. Imagine being a daughter and walking into a room to see your dad, the man who raised you, who was there for your first steps, your first heartbreak, every major moment of your life, and he looks at you like you're a stranger, like he's never seen you before. I honestly don't know how you process that. I don't know how you keep showing up, but Rumor does, and she explained why in a way that's just so beautiful it almost hurts. She said, "I'm so happy and grateful that I still get to go and hug him. I'm so grateful that when I go over there and I give him a hug, whether he recognizes me or not, that he can feel the love I've given him and I can feel it back from him." Now pause right there because this is what real love looks like. This isn't Hollywood movie love. This isn't some fairy tale where everything works out perfectly. This is choosing to show up for someone even when they can't remember your name, even when they can't give you what you need emotionally, because you know that somewhere deep down the connection is still there. And Rumor went even further. She said that I still see a spark of him, and he can feel the love that I'm giving, which tells me that despite everything this disease has taken from Bruce Willis, despite all the ways it's changed him, there's still something of the man he was, fighting to stay present, still moments where his family can connect with who he really is underneath all of this. But here's something else that Rumor mentioned that I think is so important. She talked about her own daughter, Lou, and how grateful she is that Bruce has been able to develop a relationship with his granddaughter. Think about the timing of all this. Rumor became a mom in April of 2023, which means Lou is still just a toddler, and Bruce's diagnosis was around the same time period. So this little girl is growing up knowing her grandfather during one of the most difficult chapters of his life. But according to Rumor, there's still a bond there. There's still connection happening, and that's something she's choosing to focus on instead of what's been lost. And honestly, I think that perspective is everything, because when you're dealing with something like frontotemporal dementia, you can either spend all your energy mourning the person they used to be, or you can find ways to love and appreciate who they are right now in this moment. And it seems like the Willis family has chosen the latter. Now, I want to be clear about something. FTD is progressive. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse over time, and there's currently no cure. So when Rumor says her dad is doing okay, she's not saying he's improving. She's not saying there's been some miraculous turnaround. She's saying that within the framework of a degenerative brain disease, he's holding steady. And for families in this situation, that's honestly the best you can hope for. What really strikes me about this whole thing is how public the Willis family has chosen to be about Bruce's condition. They could have kept this private. They could have hidden away from the cameras and the questions. But instead, they've been open and honest, and I think that takes guts because they know the world is watching. They know people are going to have opinions, but they're doing it anyway because maybe they know their story can help other families going through similar situations. And here's my take on it. I think what Rumor is doing by sharing these updates is incredibly brave. She's letting us see the reality of what it's like to love someone with dementia. She's not pretending it's easy. She's not putting on a brave face and saying everything's fine. She's telling the truth, which is that it's hard. It's really hard. But there are still moments of light, still reasons to be grateful, still love present, even when recognition isn't. The fact that she can walk into that room not knowing if her dad will know who she is and still choose to show up with love and compassion, that tells you everything you need to know about the kind of person she is and the kind of family Bruce raised. So while the update isn't what any of us want to hear, while we all wish Bruce was healthy and thriving, I think there's something powerful in acknowledging that even in the midst of something this devastating, there can still be connection. There can still be love. There can still be those sparks of the person we knew. And maybe that's the real message here, that love doesn't require recognition. It doesn't require memory. It just requires showing up and being present. And that's exactly what Rumor Willis is doing for her father every single day.